Harry Potter is really trash. Or at least that's my own opinion. Please don't cook me in the comments. But what if there's an anime that does the Harry Potter magic school concept, but does it in a way that is just way better? You'd get Wistoria, Wand and Sword. At first look, you'd be like, alright, this series is pretty much Mashle 2.0. And you'd be sort of right. I'm not even gonna lie. It has the same concept of magic, a school setting, and a main character who lacks magical abilities, but is still somewhat overpowered. However, unlike Mashle, I'd say this series takes a more serious approach in that regard. Despite being very generic, if you think about it, this series is just really good. Please, let me explain. Regarding Magical Academy, what do you possibly think could be the most valued thing in this academy? Regarding Magical Academy, yeah, colorful characters that look like the fucking Pokemon starters. Well, do I even need to say it? It's obviously magic. So what happens to those that have no talent at all? The betas, absolute losers with no affinity to magic whatsoever. How do they advance and exist in such an academy that is built solely upon the concept of magic? Well, to answer that question, they don't. Will Serfort cannot use magic. Not at all. He's pretty much an anomaly. A person with no magical affinity. And on top of that, he gets into the most prestigious magical academy. Something just doesn't add up. And because of that, he's completely isolated by others. The professors, the other students, they all just relentlessly bully this kid. And for what reason? Just because he's different? Well, let me tell you. When a group of people who are very similar encounters someone who stands out as different, they often view that person as of one of two types. Either as someone far above them, a genius among geniuses, or as someone far beneath them, a bug, an ant destined to be crushed. Unfortunately, in this case, Will falls into that second category. But that's not quite true. Whatever Will lacks in magic, he compensates in physical strength, swordplay, agility, and rest?
それに、コレットみたいな可愛い子に心配してもらえるなら、ラッキーかなって。でも、客観的に見てもコレットは可愛いから、本当のことを言ったまでで。
Every student in this academy pretty much has one goal, or rather a dream. It is to be a Magia Vander. A Magia Vander is the highest title that is held by the most powerful mages in the world. They are the mages who succeeded in climbing the tower and are responsible for maintaining the barrier that protects the world. It is the greatest honor a mage can achieve in their lifetime due to the power and respect they hold. Just like the rest, Will also wants to be a Magia Vander. But how is the real question? He doesn't have any magic at all. You are not a wizard, Will. To be fair, he does have greater goals. A much more noble goal than just protecting the barrier that guards the world. A goal otherwise known as, I want to fuck my childhood friend Elfaria. Not judging, but have you seen her? I mean, the whole reason I even got into Wistoria to begin with were the Elfaria edits. Will is completely based. You say shitty goals, I say a noble ambition. We're not the same. But reaching that goal isn't exactly easy. You first need to ascend the tower. What that means is, basically, you need to reach the upper institute to become one of the Magia Vander. You must be recognized by the highest center of learning, aka the upper institute. There are two main ways you can advance to the upper institute though. The first is to create a new type of magic, practically something that's just impossible. The second is to earn at least 7,200 credits, which is still very hard to achieve, but at least easier than the first one. Starting this series, you'd think it's very decent, but nothing special really. Nothing catches your eyes, honestly. Just your average fantasy anime really. But Will is such a likable character. Seeing everyone be completely against him when he's at no fault at all, making you unable to do anything but cheer for him. For example, in the Magical Festival arc, something happens that brands this series as really fucking good. Julius Reinberg, Miss Perfect, and Mr. Handsome Elf over here are the top 3 elites in the academy with the highest credits, all of them having over 10,000 credits. But Julius is a complete dick, an absolute asshole, a racist show-off who thinks they're on top of the world. Just interacting with Will, you can see the amount of hatred he has for Will, even though Will did nothing to this guy at all. He just simply existed. But ignore that for now. This is not the time for their showdown. At least, not yet. The Grand Magic Festival. It's an event held by Regarden Magical Academy once every 2 years. A bunch of different competitions are held, in which the most promising individuals get scouted by high mages into the Upper Institute. That's another way of actually going to the Upper Institute that I forgot to mention. Anyway, Will never participates in the festival due to not wanting to stand out. Oh, how cliche. I know. Ignore that. But something happens that changes his mind, and let's talk about that. Will has 2 part-time jobs. He's a newspaper boy at day, and at night, he's not Batman. He actually works at a bar as a waiter in order to pay his school tuition. After all, it's not like he can get a scholarship with that 0.00% magic. Everything's going well and sweet. The dwarves are drinking, laughing. The vibes are very chill and lovable until this fucking asshole comes in.
なんだドワーフ、その目は異界から移民してきた下等種族、人様の国で生を許されている分際で恥を知れ。
Apparently, the dwarves' world was destroyed. They escaped into the humans' worlds. Yada yada yada. Unlike the elves, dwarves can't use magic. Therefore, the dwarves are treated horribly and being discriminated against. Will really had enough of Julius and his little minions' bullshit. After fighting a little, they decided to settle it in front of everyone in the Grand Magic Festival. Oh boy, you can really tell that the author is basically setting up this big bully for failure, and just to be a very mediocre villain for the main character to walk all over him. Kinda feel bad for him now that I think about it really. Then again, nah. There's also some more drama that happens in this arc, but I'm not gonna spoil it all for you. You'll just have to watch and see that for yourself. Skip forward, Julius and Will's showdown is finally here. And let's just say, this fight is fucking beautiful. The smoke surrounding the battlefield, then this seismic sense feels like a scene out of Avatar. Julius activated Shadow Clone Jutsu, Will gets trapped into a barrier and gets crushed by this ice cube thingy. What I'm trying to say here is, this shit looks so fucking edgy, and I just fucking love it. Yeah, sure, it's the same type of movements that you see in every anime, but why change? Something that works. It looks cool as fuck, and pretty much visualizes magic in the best way possible. Just like how you'd always teach your Lucario or a sphere, because it's the most busted move a Lucario can learn. Then Will just busts out of Ice Cube, slashing it and then showing himself in such a big, edgy entrance. Then boom, agility, speed, dashing through Julius' attack left and right, destroying his clones, then doing the one thing that no mage wants to ever happen, closing distance between them, giving Will the shot to give that asshole a pretty fucking good punch. And that's just how Julius pretty much earned the title Clown of the School, because he, one of the top 3 elites, not only was he flexing that he was gonna beat the shit out of Will, he completely got his shit rocked instead by this complete nobody that can't even use magic. This series is so much fun, even if it doesn't make any logical sense, really. How is Will capable of doing all that without magic? Well, exactly like Mash, he's just simply built different, aka the excuses every author uses. Superhuman strength that a mage would never possess, with a physique as powerful as that of a dwarf, and observation skills that understands the enemy strategies just after seeing them once. A slash of a sword surpasses even lightning. I'm not even glazing. This is what they said about Will just in the first episode. Will, despite not being able to use any magic, is completely capable of going above and beyond just magic, and completely surpassing it. While these things that I'm saying right now may make this series seem a bit one-dimensional with characters that have no complex depth at all. That is somewhat true to a degree, but that was until I saw episode 10, or rather just a conversation that occurred in it, that really made side character in this series that I did not pay any attention to at all really shine big time. Wignall Lindor, also known as the handsome Mr. Elf from the top 3 elites. His magic is of that of illusions, aka this great elven illusion magic, which in concept should materialize those illusions into reality. But he can't exactly do that. So rather than turning illusion into reality, his illusions stay illusions, pretty much magic tricks, if anything. Therefore, making him very hateable within his kin and people, as he is the only elf who has yet to enter the Upper Institute. A disgrace, a talentless individual, despite being among the top 3 elites who were at the top of the academy. After all, they were never scouted, and they're nearing graduation. They're pretty much big fishes in a small pond. While they are praised by other students, they are nothing in comparison to the actual ones in the Upper Institute. Like that one slice of pizza that no one really wants. Similar to Will, he also had a connection with the Magia Vander, the Queen of the Elves, which used to be his childhood friend. Just like Will with Elfaria, she was much more talented than him, later on becoming the Queen of the Elves. In every attempt he tried to chase her, to close the difference, he failed miserably. A pathetic mage who looks down upon others in order to delude himself. Utterly helpless. Just how he's very similar to Will. He's also nothing like him at all. After all, Will is a man of focus, commitment, and sheer fucking will. No pun intended. And seeing that version of Will achieve, create, inspire, and absolutely dominate in a field that isn't his. He's just a sword in a field of mages with one. A person who's capable of doing that which may seem impossible to others, yet not to him. The illusion that he can do something because he doesn't have magic simply doesn't exist. Will is fully capable of outdoing magic. Like previously said, a person who can surpass it. A real warrior, a sword even. That inspires Wignall fully to genuinely give it a try. Not to give up and try to materialize illusion to reality. Because there's someone who is at a way worse spot than him, yet doing so much better. Will inspired him, validated him, understood him, and gave him that which he most needed. A person who believes in him.
失敗していい。天才なんかじゃない僕たちは失敗しないと前に進むことなんかできない。大丈夫だよ、イグノール。君はすごいエルフだ。
While it may not seem like a lot, it's still something that I fuck with a lot. The animation is pure fire. Art is beautiful. And I'm not glazing. And yeah, sure, each character's hair color pretty much represent the element that they use. But so what? It's still dope as hell. I mean, we got the whole Harry Potter crew over here. Let's do a checklist real quick. A junior that follows the MC around wanting him to notice him. A smart, quirky girl that hangs out with the MC 24/7. An evil, emo professor that hates the main character. Yeah, as I said, Harry Potter. If it was better. There's also a bunch of random shit happening. Like how Will's roommate hijacked his date with Colette, aka the smart, quirky girl. And then we find out Will and that guy shower together? As Will said,
ちゃんとついてるし、僕よりね。僕よりなんなの
Cool, I fuck with it. And no, I do not mean that scene. I mean I fuck with this series as a whole. It's pretty dope and entertaining, and really just gives you what you're actually asking for. It doesn't play this role of an amazing 10 out of 10 anime, yet it still keeps you wanting more and more. While it's very cliche, it's not necessarily in a bad way. It has a very great potential to be something really special. It is most definitely one of the best anime that came out this last season, so I'd really recommend it. Go watch Wistoria, Wand and Sword. Other than the fact that this anime's name already sounds edgy enough, it's also getting a second season confirmed. So we'll just have to wait and see if this will live up to its potential. Until then, check out my recent videos. I talked about Alia sometimes hides her feelings in Russian. Or will I be correct, I talked about Yuki to be honest. I also mentioned the greatest depiction of a heroic character, or at least in my personal opinion, he is. I'll see you at a later date. Oh, before I leave, I almost forgot something. Elfie is best girl. Remember that, you fools.